Welcome to the LPL Showdown. Last night, LGD lost 2 games to Edward Gaming, leaving only 3 teams undefeated. Tonight, both Invictus Gaming and Snake play, and there's a serious chance that they might not join OMG at the top this week. Razleplasm will break down the top new entrants, Snake and King. I'll crack open Starhorn Royal Club with Gamtee. Froskurinn will assess the high-powered jungle matchup driving Invictus Gaming versus Vici Gaming, and Mike will give us the skinny on Master 3 versus LGD Gaming.
Yeah. King versus Snake is a classic in my eyes. Watching the LPL Summer Split, you've gotten to see the growth of both teams, the similarities, but mostly the differences. Snake was a team that made a name for itself based on their unique playstyle that tend to ignore the meta. They knew what the meta had to offer and rejected it if they didn't fit their playstyle. Now Now that being said, the playstyle has pegged them to be like a one-dimensional team, and rightly so. But even they're aware of it and have made the steps to play to the meta. But it's hard to break old habits. It's really seeping through. King, on the other hand, has built their name on adapting to the meta. The King playstyle is a generic one, and although I do see a notable pattern of Sky refusing to play Gnar, which is it's going to be a crucial one. It's going to be a very crucial point to see in tonight's games, because Flandre has made a point of prioritizing that champion in the preseason at least, and has single-handedly carried his team based on that pick alone. I expect King to ban it as they have before, but if it goes through, then the games will be up in the air. The highlight players, needless to say, is Sky and Flandre. And though it's difficult to say this because of the story behind the bottom lane, as I stated before, it's a really, really crucial one. Flandre himself said that the only teams he was worried about were EDG and King, based on their top laners. Damn! A damning statement for a rivalry that has lasted the better part of last year and has I don't know, it's always ended in King's victory. The meta seems to favor Flandre actually, but with his massive champion pool, it's impossible to tell what he'll pick. Sky will probably favor Aurelia if Flandre does get his hands on Gnar or Lissandra. Otherwise, he'll pick up Maokai and hope to play that front line for his team. I see this one being a 1-1 tie, probably.
Thanks, Raz. The second set tonight is the battle of the incomplete rosters, as both Starhorn Royal Club and Gamtee are fielding subs. The massive hole in Starhorn Royal Club has been created by Name's absence, but Gamtee is also missing a star carry in Xiaohu. Both teams have barely scraped through with wins using their carry substitutes, and tonight is a chance for a pick-me-up. Letme's larger champion pool should give him a slight edge over World Championship runner-up top laner Cola, but both have displayed solid teamfight engagement sense with the right setups. Korn definitely has to go hard, but if Gamtee will ban out his LeBlanc or FaZe, he might not have the juice to smash effectively and make up for the absence of a playmaking AD carry. Similarly, Tail, Gamtee's AD carry, has to compensate for mid laner Xiaohu's absence in the bottom lane. He might have a very solid shot against HYY, given HYY's background primarily in playing mid lane and solo queue, but Gamtee is notorious for not pressuring these advantages. Overall, Starhorn Royal Club is best known for their snowball all-in gameplay, and this identity has been retained despite the loss of their AD carry. The trust and instant skill shot stacking still plays a prominent role for Starhorn Royal Club, even in their losses. Gamtee, on the other hand, will look for easy objectives to take if Starhorn Royal Club makes a rotational mistake, which they are often likely to do. Starhorn tries to force mistakes, but Gamtee waits for a chink in their opponent's armor to pounce. This is where our featured players come into the spotlight. Starhorn Royal Club's Insec is known for going hard into skirmishes, even from behind. This has gotten him into trouble in the past, but against a passive team like Gamtee, it's definitely something that might put them on the back foot. In these scenarios, Letme's reactive teleports are necessary to turn the tables on Insec. Both these players typically have low KDAs relative to the rest of their teams for their tendencies to place themselves in the middle of the fray, and victory could well revolve around which team has the best follow-up.
Time to talk about Invictus Gaming. Now, IG is one of the 3 remaining undefeated teams being helmed by Kakao and Rookie, formerly of the KT Arrows, which appears to be a seamless acquisition due to their natural aggressive style and tendencies aligning with IG's identity. Unlike the other Korean Chinese hybrids, there appears to be 0 growing pains within the team's dynamic as they continue to play a skirmish-based snowball game, blowing through opponents and likewise keeping things interesting with piss-poor play saved by sheer mechanical balls of steel. But don't be too impressed because IG's schedule has been lackluster, what with them facing EP, GT, and World Elite so far. Congratulations, guys, you finally got a 2-0. Normally I'd suggest that Vici should be their toughest opponent, but Vici dropped a game to Gamtee last night, and Gamtee had a sub. Whereas IG looked to be in the same spot despite roster changes, Vici is showing signs of a struggle between Mata and Dandy and, well, namely Vasily, who outside 2 standout matches has been shaky. And if that sounds harsh, consider that though Vasily is coming out of North America as a top ADC, he's playing in a region with Deft, Imp, Uzi, and Name. With a power like Mata behind him in lane, there's really no excuse for his hit-and-miss success, and flanked by that level of talent, if you're given all the tools to thrive, you better show up. Likewise, Vasily's lane matchup in Kid favors IG, with Kid being a consistent backbone at the start of the split. Featured matchup here will be another Korean story between Dandy and Kakao. Much like the M3 versus World Elite matchup, however, I feel that Kakao just has superior options in pretty much every lane, and with his signature counter-gank style, positions him favorably. That said, Sparks of Life have come out of Vici Gaming in their matches between OMG and EDG, where they slowed down the powerhouses significantly, and with the dual vision control of Dandy and Mata, Vici have the ability to out-rotate and think the sledgehammer of Invictus.
LGD versus Master 3 is likely going to be another case of a team being out-Koreaned. That's a verb now, out-Koreaned. So, Dade's performance has been questionable. So that's a thing. I mean, granted, overall he's shown to be relatively strong, but this doesn't really feel like MVP Korea Dade. It feels more like he's more lax, more chill. He has the excellent game coming out here and there, but by no means is like a perfect mid laner. So his performance has been questionable, and it's not just him, it's Looper too. Now Looper looked really good at Worlds, but it's starting to show that without the support of several world-class teams, he doesn't really shine in the way that he used to, and he's even classified as a weaker top. If you consider all of the top laners that are included into LPL now, he's actually pretty mediocre in relative terms, which is interesting considering the former talent pool in China. So now he's just kind of like, middle of the pack. Now, LGD has Acorn and Flame, obviously, and they'll probably be using both, and I suspect both to be able to run circles around Looper, really. So, as exciting as that top matchup is, because you have huge pedigrees in the form of 2 Korean top laners against each other in either case, I don't think it'll go very well. And Looper hasn't really done very well in the sense of his carry potential and all that other stuff. So, well, they have Flame and Acorn, who obviously will shine in those departments. Now, yeah, I don't think top lane's all that interesting compared to mid. I think Wayless against Dade is actually going to be the highlight matchup of this set. Both players are insanely good at the peak of their game, but both can also be relatively careless. So this matchup could go any way. Now, it could go, here's our top potential, all-out brawl, like high mechanical, insane fights in the middle way, or it can be like really sloppy. But I actually hope we see both of those games. I hope we see like a more lopsided one for entertainment and hilarity's sake, and one just to be able to spectate how well these 2 players can play at the top of their game. Either way, I think it'll be entertaining, and I think this mid matchup for pretty much any time the 2 face off against each other is going to be amusing, just because you can always get one or the other side of both of these players. So the mid lane will always be something a little bit different to watch and have a bit of flavor to it. Now, the jungle matchup is worth noting also, not because these players are exceptional in their roles, but because they both have something to prove, really. Now, neither are exceptional, so we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the history of these 2. Ruov used to fill his niche on Pantheon jungle for World Elite. I mean, he used to play other stuff, but that was what he was really known for, having the really good man drops, communication with his team. And he hasn't really pulled it out or anything in LPL now. He's just kind of appeared in an average jungler in recent matches. Surrounded by a team that's playing average, I guess it's not too hard. So I guess he hasn't been too bad, but he's not been like the Ruro that's been like exciting to watch in the past with World Elite. But then you also have LGD's Chwen, who goes by TBQ now. Now this guy has been an anchor for his team for a while, and that was when they were weaker individually. They didn't have top-class Korean talent on the team or anything like that. The team was actually less known for their laning and more known for just being able to play really well, strategically. So now he's really an anchor if he doesn't start stepping it up. So unless he improves himself or he's improved exponentially, he's really an outcast in a team full of superstars. You have this guy, Chwen, who used to be, he's really good on Lee Sin. We have to ban it out. But now it's just kind of like he's acceptable on Lee Sin, and he's just, not really passable on other junglers. That might be changed now. But either way, it's this average at most guy on a team with PYL, who many want to be on the team with just because he's on the team. That's how good of a support and leader he is. You have Imp, Acorn, Flame. So that's insane right there. And then Wayless, who's also been proving himself as a mid laner. So yeah, him being on the team has always been something that's been kind of strange to me. But I feel like in terms of jungle matchups with this match specifically, it's relatively even. So this could be his testing grounds to see if he's excelled or if he needs to be replaced or something like that. Especially since this feels like a fair jungle matchup. The team hasn't dropped a game yet though, so you have to credit him there. He has to have had some impact in the fact that the team hadn't lost a game, at least in week 1. So we shall see.
I expect King to ban it as they have before, but if it goes through, then the games will be up in the air. The highlight players, needless to say, is Sky and Flandre. And though it's difficult to say this because of the story behind the bottom lane, as I stated before, it's a really... King, on the other hand, has built their name on adapting to the meta. The King playstyle is a generic one, and although I do see a notable pattern of Sky refusing to play Gnar, which is it's going to be a crucial one. It's going to be a very crucial point to see in tonight's games, because Flandre has made a point of prioritizing that champion in the preseason at least, and has single-handedly carried his team based on that pick alone.
Jungle matchup driving Invictus Gaming versus Vici Gaming, and Mike will give us the skinny on Master 3 versus LGD Gaming.
Yeah. King versus Snake is a classic in my eyes. Watching the LPL Summer Split, you've gotten to see the growth of both teams, the similarities, but mostly the differences. Snake was a team that made a name for itself based on their unique playstyle that tend to ignore the meta. They knew what the meta had to offer and rejected it if they didn't fit their playstyle. Now now that being said, the playstyle has pegged them to be like a one-dimensional team, and rightly so. But even they're aware of it and have made the steps to play to the meta. But it's hard to break old habits. It's really seeping through.
Welcome to the LPL Showdown. Last night, LGD lost 2 games to Edward Gaming, leaving only 3 teams undefeated. Tonight, both Invictus Gaming and Snake play, and there's a serious chance that they might not join OMG at the top this week. Razleplasm will break down the top new entrants, Snake and King. I'll crack open Starhorn Royal Club with Gamtee. Froskurinn will assess the high-powered